Good day. It's the 4th day of May 2022 and it's a Wednesday. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, opening up the program with blessings for all of you. I pray that the Lord will bless your day, bless your health, bless your family, and bless your wealth. And above all, may you have blessed joy in your life. Okay, maganda pong gawain yan na binibless ninyo. If you recall, ewan ko how many of our viewers are young enough to remember the time when we would leave the house, every time a person leaves the house, binabasbasan, binebless siya ng kanyang mga magulang, ng mga lolo, okay, patnubayan ka ng Panginoon, etc. So these are the things we should bring back to our society or to our culture. Hindi lang yung mag-ingat kayo, checkin ninyo yung bag nyo, cellphone nyo. It's good to be worried, to be careful, but it is also important to bless our children, our husband, our wife, our parents, when they leave the home or when they start the day. Okay, now as I mentioned, it's a Wednesday and today we're going to have two guests as usual, and our first guest later in the program will be Senator Francis Tolentino. Siya po yung ating isa sa mga suki during the height of the online sabong controversy, the missing 34 people, and it turns out that it has produced results. The efforts of Senator Francis Tolentino, Bato de la Rosa, and many others have produced results to the point that President Rodrigo Duterte yesterday announced the end of online sabong. Nakakasama raw talaga sa kultura, and the president finally came to realize that people were no longer resting. Okay? Hindi na natutulog. Monday to Sunday, sabong 24/7. Pati nga nung Good Friday, may online sabong pa daw. Okay. And after our interview, of course, we will also be speaking with Senator Tolentino about other good things. If you are a car enthusiast, yung vintage car vehicle, hindi nyo alam, Senator Tolentino was involved in that. And apparently, at least someone from LTO sent me a copy. My friend Don Devesa of Mandaluyong, LTO Mandaluyong, sent me a copy of the bill. And mangangamusta tayo regarding that. Those of you, yung may mga kotse ng mga lolo, lola, tatay nyo, na nawala ang mga dokumento, nasunog, nabaha, you will now be allowed to register them by law. Kasi dati po, ginagamit, it was used by some corrupt people to get money in order to register vehicles, and some people were using stolen files to register illegally imported vehicles. So anyway, we will speak to Senator Francis Tolentino, and after that we will be speaking to former Senator and former Secretary of Defense Orly Mercado, and Sir Orly and I, biglang siner kasi professor naman siya sa UP nung ako estudyante palaang. Orly Mercado will be joining us later in the program, and I hope to have a talk with him regarding concerns on the very election themselves on Monday, post-election, and post the announcement of the winners. Kumbaga, gagawa natin, we will plot the course, so to speak, to find out what will be the probable bumps and smooth paths after May 9. Okay, but in the meantime, let me read you today's Daily Starter. For those of you who are confronted with choices, you want to follow God, but you want to follow your heart also, or you have decisions to make, Daily Starter comes from a someone I know very well. His name is Cito Beltran. This is my own daily starter quotation. God is open to negotiation. Okay, I repeat, God is open to negotiation. Baka biglang may mag-alborotong pastor dyan or pare, it is in the Bible. Abraham negotiated with God when God was setting out for Sodom and Gomorrah, and sabi niya, tutustahin ko na yung Sodom and Gomorrah na yan because it has reached heaven. Their evil and their wickedness has reached heaven. And Abraham said, paano na kung may 50? What if there are 50 good people? If you can find 50 good people, I will spare it. What if there's only 40? If you can find 40, I will spare it. So on and so forth. And then there is a story of a king who found out through a prophet that he was about to die. Sinabi sa kanya ng prophet, get your house in order because tonight you will die. And the king, he just leaned on the wall and cried and said to God, please don't forget naman all of my sacrifices, all of my offerings to you, all the good things I've done. Tapos ganun na lang, totodasin mo na ako. And later in the day, God sent the prophet back and said, tell him, I have considered his sacrifices and I will give him 15 more years. Okay, so sa buhay ko po, meron akong maraming mga ganyang situation where I ask God, I'll follow you, but don't make me do this. Kumbaga, parang katulad sa trabaho. I will do it, but huwag mo na akong pag-applyan. Ang tanda ko na. You want me in media, pag-a-applyan mo pa ako. And it happened. Some people called me, please join us. So God is open to negotiations. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Naku po, nalintikan na. Gab, can you please bring out the front page enlarged version? Because I seem to have misplaced my guide here. But let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Today, okay, Duterte orders end to e-sabong. President Rodrigo Duterte issued the order yesterday, effective midnight last night, no more e-sabong because of the social impact. Okay, at the top of the headline, at the top of the front page, at the header, okay, there we go, Raps Mal versus former Bucor OIC for perjury. Okay, the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption and some other members of the judiciary are talking about possible charges that will be laid against the former Bureau of Correction chief for making false testimony versus Laila de Lima. Okay, and below that, we have 15 Tubataha reef tourists get COVID. Yesterday, I read the news for you. I said 2 tourists who arrived in Puerto Princesa were COVID positive after their dive into Bataha Reef. Turns out, 15 na po sila, okay, including the crew of the dive boat that ferried the tourists to Bataha. Okay, next up, we have Phil American Group launches troll exposer website. Okay, Filipino Americans based in the US, obvious ba, have launched a website where they will be exposing trolls, troll farms, and persons, political parties, government officials who are behind these troll operations in the Philippines. Because in case you don't know it or realize it, we have become the center of attention, the focus of attention globally, especially with international media, na kung saan yung ating mga trolls, mga disinformation, mga fake news because of the election has reached a gigantic proportion and is causing alarm, not just for media people, but even for certain governments. Kasi nangangamba yung iba that what's happening in the Philippines will be copied elsewhere. And yesterday, the ambassadors, many ambassadors, also expressed their sentiments regarding how digitalization or the internet and these trolls are discrediting or destabilizing reliable media. Okay, so yun po. Next up, let's go to the next. Okay, there. Still no bet for Rodi. Hanggang Disyembre, mag-intay kayo hanggang Disyembre. The President will not publicly endorse any candidate for the presidential election which will take place on Monday. Sa Lunes na po yan. Baka makalimutan ninyo. Okay. Next up, we have Iglesia. On the other hand, the Iglesia ni Cristo Church has announced their endorsement for Bongbong Marcos and Sara Tandem. Okay, yan po ay ginawa nila through their media outlet, I believe Matanang Agila or Eagle Broadcasting, where they announced that they are going with BBM and Sara Duterte. Okay. Then that photo is a photo of ballot counting machines, boxes, etc. All the paraphernalias being delivered all over the country. So ayan, talaga pong pinaghahandaan na. Next. GCash blocks over 900,000 users for suspected fraud. Okay, that's a good development. GCash, the online wallet, money, online banking has blocked 900,000 accounts who are suspected of hacking people's accounts and phishing and also stealing people's money. Now, half of public schools resume face-to-face classes. Ayan na po, okay, if I'm not mistaken, there's about 25,600 plus public schools that will be resuming face-to-face classes right after the elections. Kasi hindi pa maliwanag kung kailan malilibre ang mga eskwelahan. I believe that's all the news there is. Now, let's go for a quick break. When we return, we will bring in and invite in now a regular and a friend, of course, of the program, Senator Francis Tolentino, right after the break. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and joining us in the program is none other than Senator Francis Tolentino, Chairman, Senate Committee on Local Government, also a member of the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, which has been leading the hearings on the e-sabong operation. Okay, good morning, Mr. Senator. Thank you for your time.
Morning, sir. Good morning to your viewers as well.
Okay, I would presume, I don't know what your sentiments are regarding the announcement of the president yesterday. What was your reaction upon hearing President Duterte saying papatigil na niya yung e-sabong?
Of course, we're elated. We're happy to hear that. Long time coming. And I was glad that the word value was mentioned. If you remember, during the last Senate hearing, I was the one who mentioned, I think I made a statement directed towards the two how do you call that? The GCash and Paymaya, not mentioning their names, that technology should be driven not just by the need, but likewise human values. And I think the president correctly stated that yesterday, that we should respect Filipino values. So I think this is the end of the story. I don't know if this will be revived come the 19th Congress, but just the same, I think the Senate did a good job, modesty aside, in bringing to light all the legal intricacies of this matter, including the missing sabongeros. Nahinto na ito. So sana talaga matuluyan na, kasi yung mga kausap ko kagabi, iba na yung topic namin eh. Yung mga kausap ko, yung mga ilang kandidato sa 8th district ng Cavite, ang pinag-uusapan yung dami na nag-suicide sa dahil dito. So marami rin nakakalungkot, mga kababayan din natin, mga bata pa yung iba, dahil hindi na talaga nakabayad o naisangla na yung kanilang mga ari-arian. So tama lang ito, nahinto na.
Okay, now what is your position? Ito po ba dapat permanente na, pirmihan na iban? Kasi if you manage to see the statement of Mr. Atong Ang, he made reference to the point that there are corrections that need to be made, things need to be put in order, and he gave the hope na makakabalik pa yung mga paryente ng e-sabong.
Siguro before a franchise is issued, bago pag-usapan yung tungkol sa prangkisa, yung mga correction, ang pag-uusapan dito yung legalidad. Legal po ba ito sang-ayon sa mga alituntuning batas? O kailangan bang gumawa ng bagong batas para maging legal ito? So yung position ko, yung pa rin yung position ko ngayon. Sabi ko noon, this is not legal. The Department of Justice Secretary's opinion cannot interpret a non-existing law. The Secretary of Justice cannot create a new law because he is not a legislator. So sabi ko, walang basis talaga. Kaya napunta na ako sa BIR napunta na ako sa lahat ng legal intricacies nito. But just the same, ibalik natin doon sa naging statement ni Presidente, nabanggit nga yung value. When we craft a law, dapat sang-ayon din sa Filipino values. Will this promote hard work? Will this promote all things that we cherish as a culture, as a nation? So yun yung siguro pag-usapan muna. Kung gagawa ng batas, pag-usapan naman yung mga loopholes, yung mga middlemen, yung nagpa-facilitate ng online payments, paano yung taxation, paano yung digital regulation. So bago pumunta ron, sagutin muna yung tanong, kailangan bang gawin to, or should we stick to the traditional sabongs na nandun talaga ang mga tao? Kasi ang sabi sa akin ng mga tao kagabi, ng mga kausap ko, pag nasa sabongan daw kahit 500, hindi ka kagad mapapataya, mag-iisip ka kasi masaya, nag-iishawak mo yung cash, hawak mo yung pera. Pero pag nandito ka sa cellphone, matter of seconds, yung kikitain mo. So yun yung mga dapat timbangin. So are we going just to correct this, or are we correcting this because we want this to be in sync with the values that we are trying to promote?
Well, speaking of values that we are trying to promote, Mr. Senator, what is your position regarding, and I'm not being a oppositionist, a critic or anything, but historical naman po ito, that gambling has become a state-sponsored business in the Philippines. Now, unfortunately, nung bata-bata tayong dalawa, ang alam lang natin noon yung sweepstakes ba? Bibili ka ng ticket sa tagtitinda sa simbahan, kung tumama ka, thank you Lord, di ba? Pero biglang naging loto na, pagkatas meron na tayo, ito yung mga pogo, and from the looks of it, the government is losing money on the proposition because yung loto naging STL, maraming mga wetting lord naman daw may-ari, and then yung pogo hindi nagbabayad sa gobyerno, and now with the e-sabong, dihado pa rin ang gobyerno. Should the government continue using gambling as a means of generating income?
So, yung sinabi ng Pangulo dati, we respect that, yung mga nangyari ng mga nakaraang panahon, it's not just the mode of generating income. Ang sa akin, it has to be balanced. It has to be income generating, but we look as well as to how we, umalik-uli ako dun sa values for a lack of a better term, how we promote the notions of the right character of hard work. Pinopromote natin ngayon yung good manners and right conduct. Binalik natin sa eskwelahan yun. COVID lang. So, mag-graduate ka, mag-aral ka, magsipag ka, magkatrabaho ka, kumita ka. Di ba ganun yun? Hindi yung nag-gamble ka na lang. But yung sasabong, bahagi ng tradisyon natin, kultura, piyesta, yung masaya, minana na natin sa mga ninuno yun. But you're correct. It should be revisited. The manner of regulation. Is the state really supposed to sponsor casinos? Although na-download na yan sa mga pribadong sektor. But again, there has to be a limit. Hindi na naman natin kayang sa mga ibang bansa, makikita mo, nasa isang lugar lang malayo, sa mga Indian territories, halimbawa, sa Estados Unidos. But these are matters subject to continuing debate, and we're not claiming to be an expert on this, including the moral dimension of this, but just the same, siguro ibalik yung dati na kaya ka gumaling na basketball player kasi nagpa-practice ka, masipag ka. Kaya ka magaling na businessman, talagang pinag-aralan mo kahit yung paglalako, pagtitipid, pagbibigay ng tamang tubo, pagbibigay ng tamang sweldo sa iyong mga empleyado. So there are no quick things in life. There are no quick fixes in life. So ganun siguro yung natin. Balance it with the needs of the country. Magkano ba yung dapat kitain? Kasi lumolobo yung populasyon, marami tayong utang. So balansahin siguro yan.
Okay. Now, nabanggit nyo kanina yung nakausap nyong mga sa 5th District, tapos yung mga nagsasabing ibalik na lang sa dati ang sabong. I did not realize that you are the committee chairman on local government. May mga nagbanggit, okay? Isa na ako doon. Nagsasabi na baka mas maigi pang magpatayo na lang ng Philippine Cockfighting Authority imbis na nilalagay ang sabong sa GAB kasi yung pagsabong ay napakalaking industriya. Una yun. Pangalawa, may mga nagsasabing bakit hindi na lang kasi payagin niyang tupadahan sa barangay para every barangay can earn money, tapos ang mga nagsasabong yung mga magkakapit-bahay lang at hindi nakokontrol ng mga kartel.
That's a good point. There probably is a need to revisit the move before that abolished the Game Foul Commission. Merong Game Foul Commission noon tinake over lang yung function ng Games and Amusement Board. Siguro dapat ibalik yon, just as we have a horse racing authority before. So tama kayo, ibalik na sa lokal. Sila naman talaga nagbibigay ng prangkisa sa lokal. Yung tupadahan, during special occasions, pag may fiesta, minsan maglibing. Pag mayroong pangangailangan pa yung pamilya ng pumanaw para maka-generate ng additional funds, hinahayaan ng mga pamahalaan lokal yun na magtupada sa likod ng bahay para may panggastos man lang sa serbisyo ng punerarya. Nakakatulong. I agree that we go back to the original roots, to the roots of why this came about. Bakit ito nag-mushroom? Because of our innate nature to be close together as Filipinos, magkakapit-bahay, magkakaibigan, may dalang manok, pinapanggas. So ibalik natin doon. And again, I repeat my statement during the Senate hearing na yung technological advances should not be allowed to let go alone full stream as if it is an artificial intelligence without being hooked up, linked to a national value or culture. Tao pa rin naman magpapatakbo nun eh. Hindi lang naman yung mga systems, yung mga chips, hindi lang naman yung peer-to-peer technology. Tao pa rin po ang behind at magpapatakbo.
Okay, slightly digressing from the sabong itself, paano naman po yung mga missing? Kasi may mga nagsabi rin, okay, natigil nyo nga yung e-sabong, paano naman kaming mga namatayan na nawala ng kamag-anak? May mga, napansin ko lang din yung dalawang pulis na kumbaga na-corner nyo na nga doon sa Senate investigation ninyo. May nagsabi, bakit hindi dinitain yan doon sa Senate hanggat hindi nila pinayo kung sino yung nag-utos?
I think the CIDG is on top of this. Even if there is going to be a new chief of the Philippine National Police come May 8 o kung may extend, hindi ko alam. So nakatutok talaga yung kapulisan natin doon. And yung usapan namin ni committee chairman Senator De La Rosa will allow the investigation authorities, kasi chief PNP din naman siya, na full steam na. Marami ng palagay ko ilan na lang yung hindi maliwaliwanag. Pero yung iba natukoy na siguro baka magkamali ako, hindi ko mabanggit, natukoy na kung sino kumuha, natukoy na kung anong oras, may mga witnesses. So cases were filed for some, but not all the 34. So let's just wait for the committee report of Senator De La Rosa. I think ang sabi niya Thursday is tomorrow, piniprepare na niya eh.
Yes,
so
sir.
Hintayin na lang po natin yon.
Okay, magandang balita. Ngayon, pag-usapan naman natin yung isang bagay na malapit sa puso nating dalawa, ay yung mga parehistro ng vintage vehicles. Kasi may nagsabi nga sa akin kamakalawa, Kuyang, yung nilalabi mo ng 15 years na ipasa na nila Senator Tolentino at ng mga members of Congress. Totoo po ba yun na pwede na naming irehistro yung mga kotse ng mga ninuno namin?
Pwede na po. May batas na po tayong binalangkas at naipasa. Nilagdaan na ni Pangulong Duterte. I just don't know the exact Republic Act number. Ang ibig sabihin po nito, yung mga lumang kotse ay hindi na po panggarahe lang. Basta ito po ay roadworthy, ito po ay nasa kondisyon. At sigurado naman po nasa kondisyon yan sa mamahal na piyesang mag-restore. Hindi mo naman ipapaubaya sa ordinaryong mekaniko lang yan kasi expensive yung mga pangilalim, yung sa makina. So makikita po natin sa mga susunod. Paglabas po ng LTO sa implementing rules, makikita natin na dadami-dami na ito sa kalye. Huwag po nating isipin na ito po ay makaka-contribute sa trapiko. Hindi naman po ito gagamitin araw-araw. At wala maglakas ng loob na gamitin. Baka ayaw nga nila masandalan o magasgasan yan. Hindi naman po ito masasabi nating baka maka-aksidente pa dahil roadworthy nga ito. May mga seatbelts din po ito. Kompleto ito. So makikita natin bahagya yan. Ang layunin po nito, maibalik yung hindi lang yung diwa noong nakaraan, baka hindi pa sinisilang yung ibang makakakita, kung hindi ipakita natin na naging bahagi din tayo ng ganong kultura. Pinag-usapan natin yung values kanina. Yung 60s, yung 70s, early 70s, bawat kotse po ay naging mute witnesses, tahimik na testigo sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa. Yung 73 Mustang, testigo po yun during the 70s, dekada 70. Yung 66 Nova ay testigo po yun sa mga nangyari nung panahon ni na Presidente Macapagal, Presidente Marcos. Yung 55, 54 Bel Air car, panahon po ni na Presidente Magsaysay. So maililik, kung yung mga kabataan natin titingnan yun, dapat tingnan nyo na rin yung sumasalamin na mahalagang bahagi ng ating kasaysayan na nag-mirror o sumasalamin doon sa coaching yon. So bahagi po ng ating kasaysayan. Nagpapatunay po, sir, na hindi tayo nahuli. Baka ang isipin nila, nagkakotse ang Pilipino. Nito lang dumating ang Toyota, hindi po. Batagal na po.
1904 pa, may kotse na ang Pilipinas.
Opo, baka kasi hindi naniniwala yung ibang ino-orderan ko minsan ng pyesa. Meron ba kayong ganyan? Hindi nakala nila backward country tayo, may karsada na ho tayo, may kotse na tayo. Ang tawag nga ho nun, auto. Di ba ho? So para maliwanag po sa mga kabataan natin.
Okay, pero ayoko nang manggaling sa akin. Baka naman gusto mong magyabang ng konti, Senator. Ano ba yung mga favorite car mo na pinagpapawisan mo dyan sa garahe mo? You know, we also want to show our viewers the other side of our political leaders. Kasi ang tingin sa'yo, ikaw stricto ka nun sa MMDA. Tapos dyan sa senador, talagang puro katrabaho, magaling kang abogado. But we rarely get to hear about your hobbies, etc. Ano bang kotse pinagkakaabalahan mo? Yung ba yung mga binanggit mo kanina?
Yung pong meron pong Hornet. Yung Hornet po, AMC yon, American Motors Corporation, 1973. Ang alam ng mga kabataan ngayon, ng bagong henerasyon, believe sila doon sa, hindi naman ako nag-advertise ito, yung Wrangler, yung Jeep. Yung Wrangler Jeep po, ang gumawa nun yung American Motors. Sarado na yun, na-take over nila yon. Yung Jeep naman, na-take over ni Chrysler. So, umaandar na po yung Hornet 73, roadworthy ho yun. Yung Nova naman, kaya pinipilit kong buuhin, kasi yung mga kapitbahay ko po sa Mendez, Cavite naman po ito. Dito galing yung mga Pilipino na nag-US Navy sa Sangli, Cavite. Nakapunta ng Amerika. Yung mga apo nila ay nag-Navy na rin, pero isang barangay po yan sa Mendez na galing po ng Sangli Point na may base militar pa sa Cavite City. Yung 66 Nova ay doon ko naman nakuha sa isang retired US Navy.
Okay.
So ito po yung binubuo-buo pa rin, kompleto ho yung papel at siguro mga ilang buwan pa ho ito bago mag-roadworthy. Medyo minsan nakakainip, minsan nakaka-frustrate, pero pag nabuo po ito, hindi naman po tayo mekaniko, siguro naman fulfilling because you not just restructured and restore a car, you restored history. You restored something that is part likewise of the heritage of that family, the original owner, who migrated to the United States, who contributed to his own community in Cavite.
Ano yung isang kotse na gustong-gusto mong magkaroon? Kung speaking of vintage, what is the elusive one car, the unicorn in your garage?
Wala po ako noon. Siguro ito yung ito yung 54 o 55 na Chevy na yung merong gulong sa likod, Thunderbird. Ford Thunderbird. Ford Thunderbird, I'm sorry. Yung
okay.
Ang reserva ay nakalagay doon sa likod.
Oo, nasa likuran. Meron akong alam, bandang Cavite, pag nandoon pa itatawag ko para mapasyalan mo.
Ay, salamat po. Kahit tingnan man lang, kahit magpa-picture lang. Baka hindi naman natin mabili yan. Baka hindi pinagbibili yan.
Well, Senator Francis Tolentino, thank you again for your time. Maraming salamat po na kayo ay nagiging tapat sa mga kaugalian at mga tinatawag nating values ng ating lipunan. And thank you for your efforts. We hope to see you again on the program. Have a good day, Senator.
Thank you, sir. And we ask our countrymen to vote wisely and early this coming May 9. Salamat po at magandang umaga sa inyo, Sir Cito.
Thank you very much, Senator Francis Tolentino. Yan po, no? Sabi ni Senator, bumoto kayo na maaga at saka gumawa kayo ng listahan ng iboboto ninyo. Dahil pag sinulat nyo wisely, nalified ang boto ninyo. Pag sumobra kayo ng 12 senators, nalified ang boto ninyo, etc., etc. So anyway, we'll go for a quick break. And when we return, let's speak with someone who's been a senator, someone who has been Secretary of Defense, has been in the academe and remains in media, and what are his concerns with the upcoming election and post-election. Because while many of us are very concerned on who will become president, not many of us have managed to think beyond May 9. Marami na pong mga nag-uusap tungkol sa magiging kakalabasan ng ating ekonomiya. We'll be right back here on Agenda after this quick break. Welcome back to the program Agenda. We continue with today's show, and before we go to our next guest, allow me to thank Mr. Marco Borlongan of PLDT and PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for their support. Kahapon po medyo lumayla yung signal. Apparently, marami pa ring nagnanakaw ng kawad ng kuryente, ng telepono, etc. But thankfully, PLDT teams really rushed to the scene and they found out na yun nga, nagkanakawan daw ng kable. So anyway, let's bring in our next guest. We have with us, well, he's not a guest, he's a comrade in arms in media. We have with us former senator, former Secretary of Defense, and talk show host Orly Mercado. Kuya Orly, good morning.
Cito, good morning, good morning.
Nasaan ka ba ngayon, sir?
Nasa bahay lang ako. Mag-aanda maglaba.
Mag-aanda maglaba. Ako mamaya magpipinta. Pero magpipinta ng sahig. Hindi po ako magpipinta ng obra maestra. Anyway, Sir Orly, thank you for joining us this morning. And I just wanted to pick your brains regarding the coming election on Monday and post-election, because you have been a senator in the past, you have been a Secretary of Defense, and you are a veteran media practitioner. What is your primary concern at the moment?
Alam mo, meron akong kaibigan. Kasama ko actually sa Academic Council and Development Academy of the Philippines. May sinabi siya sa akin, sa meeting namin a few days ago, si Dr. Ben Malayang, dating Undersecretary of DENR. Sabi niya, ang problema nito sa atin, sabi niya, we are concentrating on personalities and we're voting for people. When actually we're voting for the nation. Pero that struck me as the issue. Sabi ko, tama yung natumbok mo yun eh. Ang ating pinagbabutuan, ang ating magiging dapat exercise on Monday is really a vote for the institution, for the process of transfer of power, and for the country's future. Pero alam mo, Cito, we are known to be a personalistic society. Di ba? Sabi nila, loyalty natin is to people, not to institutions. Kaya weak daw tayo sa institution building. Well, marami mga bagay-bagay, complex yan, mga bagay na yan. Pero siguro yun ang dapat pag-isipan natin. Beyond personalities, napupunta lang tayo dun sa personalan eh. Ngayon, lalo na sa social media, nandun ang bakbakan. Alam natin na yung narrative sa social media, nai-influensya kami ngayon. Napakalaki ng influensya, lalo na sa mga bagong voters. No? And alam rin natin na one of my concerns is that we have no interest, wala tayong interest sa kasaysayan. Naunawain natin kung saan tayo galing para maintindihan natin kung saan tayo ngayon, and then we can project our future.
Okay, now following up on what you've said, kumbaga yung ating naging campaign period, parang virtual reality campaign, digital campaign, lahat tirahan ng tirahan, hindi nagkakapersonalan, and now that it's approaching the finish line, people are now saying, oh, sana naman magbati-bati na tayo pagkatapos ng eleksyon. Do you see that happening? Because there is that side of the election where, dinaya ako, hindi ako natalo, dinaya ako. People are worried that this is going to get worse before it gets any better.
Pero Pinoy na, you consider it parang boxing bout yan eh. Hindi naman personal na galit sa'yo talaga, pero patutulugin ka. Pag hindi ka nag-ingat, kung gusto mo naman manalo, patulugin mo rin, hindi naman personal. So the problem there is that really, as far as we're concerned, everything is personal. May mga nagtatanong nga sa akin, Orly, sino bang iboboto mo? Sabi ko, teka muna, bago ko sabihin sa'yo, kung gusto mo malaman kung sino iboboto. Kasi tinatanong nila ako, sino ba iboboto ko? Sino ba sa payo mo? Sabi ko, the first thing that you should talk about, the question that you should ask is, ano ba kailangan natin dun sa qualities na pagiging presidente natin during this time? Ganun lang naman yan. Pag nasagot na natin yan, darating na yung qualification. Sabi, bakit si ganito? Pwede pag-usapan niya kung sino ito, totoo ba yung sinasabi, tama ba yung impression ng tao, o narrative lang, o advertisement lang yan. Tapos you can go into vetting by way of past actions. The best determinant of what a person is not what he says. It is what he has done and how he has acted in times of stress and times when he was tempted. Yung natukso siya o sa corruption or whatever. All of these things get to be important.
Okay, now, if I remember correctly, kasi nung naging presidente si Cory Aquino, it was a time when the primary concern was the peaceful transition, bloodless transition, bloodless revolution, ika nga, of the Philippines. Now, you were the Secretary of Defense during the time of Fidel Ramos or Ramos. Erap. Okay. Now, okay, so Cory, Ramos, and then you have Erap. Okay, given our current situation, we are going through the pandemic, we are going through economic upheaval globally, etc. Palagay mo, ano ang kalalabasan ng next administration? Kasi may mga nagsasabi, even the President himself, President Duterte said, I pity the next administration because they are going to have so much headaches.
Well, talaga namang it always looks worse than the past, no? Everybody looks back and say, we wish to go back to the previous era, no? Pero sa akin, sa tingin ko, talagang very complex. Talaga naman sa lahat ng mga pag-aaral yan eh. If most studies people will tell you, the world, hindi lang Pilipinas, the world is complex. It is uncertain, it is volatile, yung usual buka and distorted or whatever. Kung idadagdag natin. But the point that we have to remember is that it's not so much how bad it is, but what will be the focus in terms of actions. Ang problema ko sa election ito, we have not discussed the issues. And we have not demanded from our candidates clarity in terms of their direction. Saan ba pupunta? How will we handle the pandemic? How will we handle the foreign debt that's going to be paid as a consequence of this pandemic? How will we handle our losing our fishing resources and our food security when the West Philippine Sea and our own maritime resources are going to be taken over by China completely. They already have military platforms there in South China Sea. Talagang napakabigat ng mga problema natin. Tapos sa poverty, yung extreme poverty natin, okay na tayo in the past kaya umusad na tayo Ang target na natin maging 14% lang. Pero balik na naman tayo sa umpisa Balik na naman tayo. We're back to battling or to trying to reduce extreme poverty. Climate change is another problem. Disasters are a problem. And the biggest disaster is that there is no plan for how to handle all of these disasters.
Okay, you were Secretary of Defense under ERAP, and the fact of the matter, history is that ERAP did not even stay in office long enough. I think only
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And he was the subject of a coup d'etat, political coup d'etat. Maraming mga analysts ngayon na nagsasabi na talagang pinagtulungan siya, tinrabaho siya to usurp the popular vote versus the invested interest. Now, are you concerned that if BBM becomes president, this could happen all over again?
Teka muna, no? Yung the president, Erap, was convicted of plunder. He was convicted of plunder later on. And yung popular vote does not necessarily mean it is not a license to do anything and to use your power, especially the vast powers of the presidency. Hindi license yun. All of us swear to the Constitution to defend it and to execute it. No, no one is above the law. Ang system talagang lahat tayo nasa ilalim ng batas. Kahit na presidente ka, vice president, senator ka, etc. If you violate the law has to be harsh on everybody, hindi lang sa mahihirap. So the point there is that minsan kahit na yung mga tumatakbo may mga kaso ng plunder o may iba, di ba, mga corruption charges, pag nanalo ang sinasabi, na-acquit na kami niya because the people know that we were investigated, we were charged, etc. But the people still voted for us. That means we're innocent. Kung gano'n ang magiging sistema natin, we will never be able to control corruption, especially in the highest of offices. Kaya yung distress talagang kasama kahit na sa ibang mga bansa yan. Pag ang kanilang chief executive nagkano, whether it's Korea, whether it's Peru or whatever, US or you are held responsible and accountable. And yun dapat ang mangyari. Yun tinatawag na example na yung pinakamatataas dapat mas mabigat ang kanilang pagsunod sa batas, mas masusi kaysa dun sa mga ordinaryong citizen.
Okay, now having been a former Secretary of National Defense, what is your assessment of our situation? Kasi Thailand, nagkudeta ang military, Myanmar is under military control in a very divided election and potentially divided post-election. Are you confident that there are no ambitious group or potential power grabbers within the military and the police?
Palagay ko kung iahambing tayo sa mga kapitbahay natin tulad ng Thailand and Myanmar, malalim ang ating we have very deep roots in terms of our democracy, and this has been tested. Even if you go back in history, go back to '86. We know that the military was critical and was the fulcrum in the change of administration and the defeat of the dictatorship. But they did not give to themselves the powers, the political powers. What they did is they transferred it into to the civilian authorities, and that was during Gore's time. So it's very important na bagamat nagkaroon tayo ng coup d'etat threat and real coup d'etats, a succession of them, they did not succeed. It did not succeed. Sabi nila, but it almost succeeded in the last. Almost is not the same as. And I think today, malalim na yung understanding. There is a very deep understanding of the importance of democracy and the checks and balances. Military power can be a transitional power, but normally it's difficult to give up. It's better to let the people decide exactly who will be the chief executive officer of the country.
Okay, so you're confident na wala namang mga malilikot ang isip o kaya but what about in terms of a smooth transition? Do you believe we are going to have a smooth transition, meaning a week after May 9, meron na tayong declared winners, and then by so and so month, meron ng bagong presidente? Or natatawa ka, Sir Orly? Ano bang basa mo?
Mahirap kasi to look into crystal balls. Sa akin naman, as long as, number one, dapat the election has to be seen as clean, honest, and as transparent as possible. I know, there are always hecklers who say, oh, ganito to, etc. Meron din mga conspiracy theories na ganito yan, etc. Nothing is perfect, no? But actually, sa tingin ko, with automation, it's more difficult to really cheat in a larger process, no? And sa atin naman, in spite of the inadequacies here and there, wala naman perfectong sistema. By and large, I think it has been a transparent exercise.
Okay.
Of course, may mga politiko magsasabi, dinaya ako, etc. Sabi mo nga kanina, Filipino trait din talagang walang nagko-concede.
Okay. Last question ko na lang. What do you have to say about endorsements of religious groups? Kasi lumabas na yung announcement that the INC has endorsed BBM Sara.
Yan ang mga facts of life. Politics is always addition. I remember when I was a candidate, I had to go there and also explain what I wanted to do, etc. But there were times I won, even without the what you call this, the endorsement. But at the same time, if you are, for example, running in the Senate, napaka-importante yan. Lalo na kung nasa number 9, 10, 11, 12 ka, talagang 1.5 million votes, almost 2 million votes, is very critical. It makes a difference for the president. But it's also important to realize that sinasurvey din nila yung kanilang mga followers.
Okay.
And they listen to the constituents also. Ang mga miyembro ng simbahan ay tinatanong din nila. Kaya hindi lang decision sa itaas yan sa tingin ko. It's also a democratic system.
Okay, may pahabol lang yung ating news desk. Ano raw masasabi nyo that the President maintains his non-partisan position na wala siyang ini-endorse for President?
Yeah, a little curious nga ako kasi he is a popular president it could have been but it shows also the weakness of our process na walang political parties that are strong. At walang political party na siya ni-endorse. Yung mismong political party na tinakbuhan niya is just a tool. Nakikita naman natin. The other thing na dapat banggitin dito sa hindi pag-endorso ay yung pangangailangan ng succession planning. Succession planning is a very important requirement sa management. Kaya nagmamanage ka ng korporasyon o kahit organisasyon, etc. Kailangan iniisip mo hindi lang yung sarili, yung stint mo, kung hindi, paano ba magtutuloy-tuloy ang mga pinaplano ko. And that means that you must be able to groom and train the one who is coming after you.
Okay.
It only shows talaga hindi tayo strategic in our culture. We don't have this culture of strategic thinking.
Okay, thank you very much, former Senator and Secretary Orly Mercado, for your time today and for your wise analysis and observations. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and now I leave you with the reminder for the week. Hindi ko muna po siya tatawaging blessing, but reminder of the week. It comes from chapter 6 of the book of Proverbs, verses 16 to 19. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. And that's today's agenda. Thank you for joining us this morning and being subscribers of Cignal TV. Please keep it here on One News PH.